last week, we went on a family vacation. We went to Colorado skiing. My son and daughter-in-law and grandson chose to fly. My daughter, son-in-law, husband, and other grandson chose to drive. Now, we've been on traveling trips with this daughter and son-in-law before, but this is the first time with our grandson, who is 8 months old. We went to Colorado skiing, and the trip went well. We started at about 9 o'clock after my husband and I were in the Lanesboro radio show, so we couldn't miss that. So worked out perfectly because then we drove all night when the baby slept. And then we had the day, and he did really good during the day, feeding him in his car seat, getting him out every couple of hours so he didn't get any bed sores or anything like that. We'd fed him in the chair, but it's hard to burp a baby when they're in a car seat. And unfortunately, we chose to do that right before we went over the mountain pass. And of course, he had air in his stomach, and you can only imagine, but I'll tell you, the milk all came out, all over everything. And it had been long enough that the milk was sour. Luckily, we were almost there, so that was the first event of our road trip. We had rented a cottage that was deep into the wooded area of Colorado. We got there, we got settled in. My son and grandson were outside playing. There was this little sort of sun porch connected to the cabin, and while it was cold, I was still out there. Pretty soon, my son and grandson run into the cabin. It's like, whoa, what's going on? But right behind them were these 2 bear cubs. And, it's like, whoa, what's going on? Well, right behind the 2 bear cubs was the mama bear. I froze. The bear stopped, looked at me, and froze as well, and we're looking at each other, and I'm thinking, oh, great. It was, and I knew there wasn't a zoo close by, so, figuring these are wild bears that have just entered our cabin with my family. So I back up to the wall, and I just freeze, and then I start sort of shrinking down to be sitting on the floor. And what do I do when I'm in a really stressful situation? I meditate. So I close my eyes and I start my deep breathing. By this time, the bear is kind of nose to nose to me, and I, But another thing that happens when I meditate, I fall asleep. So, weird, but true. So then pretty soon I do wake up to screaming. My family has all run upstairs. There was a door at the bottom of the stairs they could have closed, but they didn't. They run them all upstairs. They're in a bedroom closed up, and all 3 of the bears have gone up the stairs and are outside the door. So I run around and look up the stairs, and I think, wow, what am I going to do? The bear didn't eat me, so there must be something kind of interesting about these bears. So I said to those bears, "Bears, you get out of our cabin. We didn't invite you in. We don't want you here. You're scaring my family. You get out." They did. They walked down the stairs, out the cabin. And we then we were right next to the Rocky Mountain National Park. So we ran into a park ranger, and he said, "Oh yeah, those bears have been around. That mama bear, she is so tame, and she loves to come and visit, and we're not at all surprised. Maybe we should post something in the cabin so people know that this is going to happen." Now you might think this is sort of a far-fetched story, and in reality is not so far-fetched, because when I was on vacation last week on this road trip, I was laying awake at night thinking, I have got to come up with a topic for my speech for Toastmasters next week. And then I fell back to sleep. And that's what I actually dreamed. So the dream actually comes some from reality too, and that being, we were on a road trip. But right now I am also in a play called Leaving Iowa that opens this Friday night and goes for this weekend and next weekend in Lanesboro Community Theater. The play, I guarantee, through the whole thing is a zoo, as you described it. It has, for a town of 788, it has 26 people in it. And it is called Leaving Iowa, not Leaving Minnesota. And it is about a family who does many road trips, and this is the flashbacks of all these different road trips and experiences. And as a matter of fact, I play a park ranger. So I think that's partly why I had this dream about these bears coming into our cabin. and meeting a park ranger, and we actually did go, we did snowshoeing in the Rocky Mountain State Park, so I was with some park rangers, and so all these things sort of mixed together and created this dream. But just in case you are not able to come to Leaving Iowa, I thought I would share my part in the play. I'm one of these flashbacks to when they are going to a state park. It's called, I don't know if it's really real in Iowa or not, but it's called Ghost Caverns. And this family comes into the park. The father isn't listening very well as the people are saying these great big billboards that say free parking and where they're supposed to go, and he doesn't listen to his family. He ends up driving on the Ghost Cavern hiking trail. And and so I'm a park ranger, and I come out and I say, stop, and go over to the window, and being a park ranger, I say, can I help you folks? Because they're obviously lost. And the father says, well, we're looking for the caverns. And I say, well, it's a mile back. You got to turn around and turn left when you get to the big 3D billboard, the one that's as big as a battleship. You can't miss it. Or, since you've gotten this far, you can park right over there in the RV parking and walk the rest of the way up the trail to the caverns. And then the mom asks, well, how far is that? And I say, it's a half a mile. You can't miss it, straight shot. And then I say, have a great day, folks, and wave to the children in the back seat. And that's my claim to fame as part of this play. And the Ghost Caverns was one of the interesting places where the father had passed away 3 years ago. And this is the son going on this new road trip to decide where he's going to leave the ashes. So this is one of the possibilities, is where is he going to leave the ashes of his father? And I won't tell you the whole story, but it's really a fun, great, fast-moving, many people in all these small vignettes, and so my part. It's a great play. I invite you all to come to Lanesboro if you have something you would like to do in the next 2 weekends and see the play. Mr. Toastmaster.